My sister's hand connected with my 6-month-old daughter's cheek at 7:14 on Christmas Eve. A flat, wet crack against baby's skin. It split open something our family had kept sealed for 30 years. Brooke was filming, phone propped against the gravy boat, ring light clipped to her chair. When Lily screamed, my sister didn't look horrified. She looked annoyed. She checked her frame and said, "Can someone shut her up? I'm live." I stood there holding my daughter, her tears soaking through my blouse. My mother stared at her plate. My father didn't move. The whole table stayed silent. What happened in the next 48 hours cost my sister her career, my parents their pride, and me the family I'd spent my life trying to hold together. But it also gave me the truth about who they really were. I'm Chelsea, 32, a pediatric ER nurse married to an army captain. This is what happened after my influencer sister slapped my baby on Christmas. If your family ever made you feel crazy for protecting your own child, you'll want to hear this. Growing up, my world orbited around Brooke. 5 years older, louder in every room, and the center our family spun around, not because she earned it, but because demanding it was easier than my parents correcting her. My mother sold insurance until Brooke's influencer career took off. My father managed a textile plant and spent his evenings avoiding conversation in his woodworking shed. Brooke built an Instagram empire, 2.3 million followers, brand deals, a curated feed captioned "Big Sis, Best Life, Blessed." I was the other daughter. Waitress through nursing school, married a soldier, worked night shifts in pediatrics. My parents came to one of my graduations. They showed up for everything Brooke staged for content. I'd accepted it like weather. What I refused to accept was my daughter growing up in that same pattern. That was why I hosted Christmas, first time at our table, on our terms. Brooke had been divorced 8 months and her content had shifted to healing journey posts. She needed family footage more than ever. I should have seen it coming. I called her the week before. "No filming, no phones, this is Lily's first Christmas, not content." "Sure, whatever, I'm not a monster," she said. I told Garrett that night. He was cleaning his service boots, a habit that never left him since deployment. "If she starts filming, I'll handle it," he said, just factual like a briefing. Brooke arrived 40 minutes late in cashmere and heels that clicked like a countdown. She hugged my mother, complimented the table, looked at Lily third. "She's gotten big," she said, like commenting on furniture. I saw the ring light in her bag. I said nothing. She'd agreed to the rules. People keep their word, that's what I believed then. Dinner held for 40 minutes. Then I came back from nursing Lily to find Brooke's phone propped against the gravy boat, ring light glowing, comments scrolling. She was live. "Brooke, I told you no filming. Relax, it's just a vibe check. My followers love family stuff." Lily started to fuss, the normal tired cry of a 6-month-old. Brooke's jaw tightened. She looked at the phone, then the baby, then the phone. "Can someone shut her up? I'm live." Before I could answer, she reached across and slapped Lily across the cheek. Open palm. A red mark on skin that had never known anger. Lily screamed. The table went silent. My mother looked at her plate. My father's fork stopped midair. Nobody moved. Garrett folded his napkin like a duty report and stood. Full height, 12 years in the army in every line of him. He didn't raise his voice. "Leave." "Now, it was barely a tap," Brooke said, voice climbing. "She's being dramatic." My mother chimed in. "Chelsea, honey, you know how Brooke gets when she's stressed." I waited for my father to speak. He said nothing. His silence filled the room like smoke. "I said leave," Garrett repeated. He opened the front door. Brooke picked up her phone, her ring light, her coat, and walked out without a word to anyone. The door closed. My mother started clearing plates like that could clear what happened. She tapped her. "Babies are resilient. You're a nurse, you should know that." My father reached for his jacket. "Your mother handles these things. I stay out of it." They left in their Buick like they'd attended a slightly awkward dinner party. Garrett checked every window, a reflex from years securing perimeters, then sat with me on the kitchen floor while Lily finally slept against my chest. "You okay?" he asked. "No," I said. "But Lily is, that's what matters." 3 days later, my mother called while I was charting at the nurse's station. "You need to apologize to Brooke." No greeting. "She hit my daughter," I said. It was a little tap. "You know how she gets." I'd heard that phrase my whole life. It dissolved every cruelty Brooke ever committed. The next morning came a text from Brooke's publicist, Tara. "This could seriously impact Brooke's brand and partnerships. Can we schedule a call to resolve this privately?" Her brand, not Lily. Her brand? I called my Aunt Janine instead, my father's sister, the one person in the family who always said what everyone else was thinking. "I was wondering when you'd call," she said. "Honey, this isn't the first time." Thanksgiving 2019. My cousin Kevin and his wife Stephanie brought their 4-year-old son Marcus. Brooke was filming a Grateful Family segment when Marcus ran through her shot. She grabbed his arm and squeezed until he screamed, leaving finger-shaped bruises. When Stephanie wanted to call the police, my parents intervened. Behind closed doors, Stephanie and Kevin left with $5,000 and an understanding. I'd been deployed with Garrett that year. When I'd asked why Kevin and Stephanie stopped coming to holidays, my mother told me they moved. That was the lie. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked Janine. "Your mother begged me not to, said it would ruin Brooke's career. I should have told you anyway." I called Stephanie next. She'd been waiting 5 years for someone to ask. She told me Brooke had grabbed a fistful of Marcus's hair first, yanked his head back, hissed at him to hold still, then squeezed his arm when he cried harder. He had nightmares for 8 months. He's 9 now, and still won't go near anyone who raises their voice. She'd been told that without Brooke's fame backing them, nobody would believe a family. Nobody had heard of over a woman with 2 million followers. "Whatever you're going to do," Stephanie said, "do it for all the kids she hasn't gotten to yet." I drove 2 hours to my late grandmother Ruth's house. She died 2 years earlier, and the house still sat unsold. Ruth was the only person in our family who said exactly what she meant. In a closet, I found a box marked personal in her handwriting, and inside it, a sealed envelope, "For Chelsea when the time comes." I tucked it away to read at home. While I was there, Brooke posted a video, tearful, perfectly lit. My own sister banned me from Christmas because I held her baby wrong. She made her husband, the big military man, physically threaten me. It hit 1.8 million views in 48 hours. The comments sided with her completely. By morning, I had dozens of hostile messages, including one with our home address. Tara emailed a path forward. A public statement from me acknowledging the misunderstanding would make this go away. I didn't respond. My mother showed up uninvited the next morning in her good coat. "Brooke is losing sponsors. You need to fix this." I told her I'd talked to Stephanie. Her composure cracked. "That was handled," she said. "It was a bribe," I said. "We helped them. It was a kindness." "How many times, Mom? How many times has Brooke hurt someone's child?" She left without answering. That night, I opened Ruth's letter. Plain, unsparing handwriting describing Brooke at 8, hitting a classmate who'd beaten her in an art contest, and at 15, twisting a younger cousin's fingers over a spilled drink. Each time my parents moved schools, wrote checks, smoothed it over. Your parents chose to look away because looking meant admitting they failed. I didn't look away. I kept everything. She directed me to a cedar chest in the attic. I drove back the next day and found the folder. A 1995 school report. 8-year-old Brooke punched a classmate named Jennifer who'd won the art show. My parents withdrew her and enrolled her elsewhere with no record transferred. A 2003 hospital receipt for 10-year-old cousin Tammy's fractured wrist with Ruth's note clipped to it. Brooke pushed Tammy down the porch steps. Patty told the doctor she fell. I was there. I saw it. A 2008 letter from our former neighbor Dorothy Henderson describing Brooke pinching a neighborhood cat until it bled. That child has something wrong inside her. And nobody in your family is doing a thing about it. 30 years. Garrett and I built the timeline on our kitchen table like an operational sequence. 1995, a classmate punched, no consequences. 2003, a cousin's wrist broken, no consequences. 2008, a neighbor's cat hurt, no consequences. 2019, a 4-year-old bruised $5,000 in silence. 2025, my 6-month-old slapped at Christmas, and I was told I was overreacting. Each incident worse, each victim younger. She's escalating, Garrett said, like a tactical assessment. And they're enabling it. Ruth's note about Tammy included one detail that stopped me cold. Brooke had told her, "Shut up, or I'll push you again," asterisk right before shoving her down the steps. 17 years before Christmas dinner, she'd used almost the same words. I called Stephanie, Janine, and Dorothy's daughter Lindsay and asked if they'd go on record. All three said yes. Stephanie still had photos of Marcus's bruises, taken the day after because instinct told her she might need proof someday. Meanwhile, Brooke escalated. A longer, more polished video calling me jealous, claiming I was dredging up old stories to destroy her. Fake 1-star reviews hit my hospital's page. A cease and desist letter arrived at our house. Garrett reached out to a JAG officer he'd served with, who referred us to a family law attorney, Sandra Holt. She reviewed everything and confirmed Brooke's public claims were demonstrably false and actionable if I wanted that route. "I don't want money," I told her. "I want the truth on the record." Her advice: don't respond, document everything, and consider a reporter she knew who covered influencer accountability, Dawn Fielding at the local news station. Brooke announced a family healing livestream. Her publicist warned me not to watch or comment, citing legal implications. I didn't crash her stream. I needed a platform she couldn't control. I compiled everything: the school report, the medical receipt, the Henderson letter, Stephanie's photos, every screenshot, into a clean, chronological timeline, the way I'd present a patient chart. No embellishment, just facts. Brooke's first livestream pulled 62,000 viewers. Soft lighting, glistening eyes, the same fabricated story. I'd overreacted, Garrett had intimidated her. I was jealous of what she'd built while I wiped up sick kids for a living. The comments loved her. I called Dawn Fielding that Monday. She was direct. No hit pieces, just facts, if I had documentation and willing witnesses. I had 30 years of documents and 3. Her producer verified the school records and hospital receipt independently and interviewed all 3 witnesses separately, consistent every time. Before the segment aired, I drove to my father's woodworking shed. He was sanding a rocking chair he'd started when Lily was born and never finished. "You're going to tear this family apart," he said. "It was never together. You just stayed out here pretending it was." His hands went still. "I didn't know it was that bad. You didn't want to know. I told him I'd wanted him to be the one who said leave at that table, and he hadn't, and I couldn't fix that for him." I walked out. He didn't follow. The segment aired with the title A Family's 3-Decade Secret. Stephanie described Thanksgiving 2019 without performing grief. She just reported it. Janine described the years of silence that cost her sleep. Lindsay held up her mother's original letter on camera. Then me, in my scrubs, badge clipped to my pocket, stating the facts the way I'd report vitals to an attending. 200,000 views by midnight. Within 48 hours, 2 major sponsors pulled out, citing children's safety concerns. A third quietly erased her from their site. Her follower count dropped 70,000 in a day. Her publicist texted that I'd made a terrible mistake, that Brooke would destroy me on her next livestream that night. I wasn't worried. They'd seen the documents now. They'd heard the witnesses. That second livestream pulled 140,000 viewers. Brooke's setup was sloppier, no styled bookshelf, just a desk, her hands unsteady. She claimed her grandmother had dementia and her witnesses were paid. The comments pushed back immediately, citing the verified hospital records. She snapped. Chelsea was always the boring one, the one who married some soldier and wipes up sick kids for a living. She's jealous. She knocked her ring light over and didn't fix it. Then, in front of 140,000 people, she said it again. Can someone just shut them all up? The same words. The same demand for silence that started this whole story. Except now everyone watching had just seen the documented 30-year pattern, and they heard exactly what it sounded like. Viewers clipped it instantly. The comment section turned into the reckoning she'd never wanted. Her publicist, off camera, urged her to end the stream. She refused, insisting she was the victim. Nobody left. They watched her unravel in real time. I didn't watch most of it. Garrett turned off the laptop after 10 minutes and showed me the clips later. I didn't celebrate. You don't celebrate when a building collapses, even a rotten one. The next morning, I wrote a plain statement on my personal Facebook page. No ring light, no production, just the facts, the way I chart a patient. It said simply that my sister hit my baby. My parents called it overreacting, and my grandmother spent 30 years documenting what our family refused to see. It was shared 40,000 times by morning. The contrast spoke for itself. That evening, my father called for the first time in weeks. I watched the live stream. I should have done something a long time ago. You should have. I can't fix that for you now. The consequences kept coming. Brooke lost 14 sponsors within a week. Her revenue dropped from $35,000 a month to nearly nothing. Her follower count fell by 400,000. Her publicist publicly cut ties with a single, clinical sentence. Her ex-husband's lawyer requested the segment for an ongoing custody evaluation. Aunt Janine personally apologized to Stephanie for 5 years of silence. I blocked Brooke's number and changed our locks, not from fear, but because I was done. My parents' $2,200 monthly mortgage payment, which Brooke had been covering, was now their problem again. I didn't feel guilty. They'd chosen their investment. It just hadn't been in the right daughter. New Year's Eve, Garrett and I sat on the porch after Lily went down. I keep waiting to feel guilty, I said. Do you? No, I feel lighter, like I've been carrying someone else's furniture and finally put it down. It didn't cost you your family, he said. It cost you the people who chose a brand over a baby. By June, Lily's first birthday, the guest list was small and real. Garrett's parents, Aunt Janine, Stephanie, and Kevin with Marcus, who tried on Garrett's patrol cap and warmed up fast. No Brooke, no Tara, no Patty in person, just a store-bought card that said I miss my granddaughter. I put it in a drawer, not the trash, maybe someday. But someday requires accountability first, and my mother hadn't gotten there. My father hadn't called at all. Brooke had rebranded as a wellness coach with a fraction of her old following. I didn't check. I didn't wonder. 3 months after the segment aired, I was promoted to charge nurse. Garrett got new orders, and we packed for a fresh start across the country, somewhere nobody knew us as the family from the news story. Lily took her first steps the week we started packing, straight into Garrett's arms. The hardest boundary I ever set wasn't with my sister. It was with the part of me that believed keeping the peace was the same as keeping my family safe. For 30 years, my parents treated silence like a strategy and called it love. Every time they covered for Brooke, they taught her that nothing she did had consequences and taught me that my pain wasn't worth the disruption. I stopped accepting that lesson the night a man I trust stood up at our table and said the only 2 words that mattered. Not to rescue me, to remind me I'd always had the right to say them myself. If you've ever had to choose between your family's comfort and your child's safety, you already know which one matters.